If nothing else, let this video be a tribute to inarguably the most chaotic week of any season of Big Brother, Week 1. Let's have a toast to the Flameouts. Here's to the magical, mystifying, questionable gameplay that has led to each of these players getting evicted too soon. They definitely didn't overstay their welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, internet, my name is Peridiam, and just to be clear, we are only talking Week 1. In Big Brother time, that could be upwards of 14 days. Sometimes it takes a while to get beyond this first week. Don't ask me, I don't make the rules. Let's get this train wreck going with some dishonorable mentions, such as Brayden from Big Brother 11, who had half the house on his side, but was then backdoored for being too much of a social threat, only to then shout racial epithets in response. Okay, I take that back. Some of these people have overstayed their welcome. Good riddance, you Sunbucks Nutmaster discount Brad Pitt wannabe. Another mention goes to Jace and his brochacho air guitar from BB17 and Jose and all of his scenarios from BB18. In another scenario, Jose may be in a different top 5. Anyway, here's number 5. Let's kick this list off with Alex from Big Brother 16. Wait, hold on. There was no Alex on BB16. What are you talking about? Is that Joey? Joey, what a dark 5 o'clock shadow you have. And massive balls. Yeah, number 5 is Joey from Big Brother 16, who got caught after the nomination ceremony attempting to form an all-girls alliance, only to then get ratted out, and kinda sussed out too. Derek saw her doing it from the kitchen. After Donnie won the veto, Joey was in hot water and was subsequently backdoored. Now, her fate at this point wasn't set in stone. She didn't have a terrible rapport with the cast, but then her campaign to stay in the house involved her dressing as a man in an attempt to demonstrate how all guys' alliances were likely controlling the house, and thus she should stay. The guys were in power, Joey, and it was a woman who snitched on you in the first place. I get being frustrated, but this isn't the way to win yourself into the good graces of the rest of the cast. In fact, Joey received all 13 eviction votes, the most of anyone in a single vote in Big Brother history, only to eventually be replicated by Keisha in Big Brother 22, a player who is not going to be in this top 5. Sorry, Alex. Maybe next time.
Go out, go to bang. I'm a man, dude.
I need a bulge or something. Can I use your glove?
Alex is my alter ego. What's up, guys? You strategizing, huh? Are ya? Well, you know what? You're afraid of the power in this house now? You've never met Alex before? Yeah, that's right. Vote for me, you sons of...
What just
really happening?
What just happened?
Oh, you're afraid now, are ya? Now you don't want to talk.
Once upon a time, years ago, when I was just getting into these YouTube shenanigans, number 4 on this list actually had an entire video made on him by yours truly. Number 4 is Jacob from Big Brother 9, a guy who was evicted on day 3 by the reigning HOH duo Jen and Parker after they were given the power to cast the sole vote to evict. It was a weird romance-themed partnered season, and unfortunately Jacob was tied at the hip with his ex, Sharon, bad luck for Sharon, who doesn't deserve to be on this list at all and thus won't be included. I have personally gone on to say that Jacob is the worst player in Big Brother history, and I still stand by that sentiment, even though he's not number 1 on this list. And that's because he doesn't flame out as hard as the rest above him, even though his gameplay is just... it's absolutely atrocious. It is so bad. He literally calls Parker, the HOH, a snake when Parker has the ability to solely evict anyone in the game. So, after Parker finds this out, what does Parker do? He evicts Jacob. And yeah, if you want to hear me break down these entire 3 days of Jacob's game to better understand just how dumb Jacob was, check out that other vid.
Jacob was like, people are talking about Parker, him being a snake, and that makes me a target now. If someone thinks my partner's a snake.
Everybody's just saying he's a snake. I just want to let you know what's going on.
Oh, man.
Jacob telling all this to Jen, I don't know why Jacob wouldn't have suspected that Jen wouldn't go tell her partner. It was a total bonehead move.
That's why.
Contact.
Oh, wait.
What a faker.
Nah, she's going to the bathroom, dude.
I tell you what's cold as hell. Korea is cold as...
I'll tell you what's cold.
The fact that you didn't think that my partner was going to come back and tell me that you think people think I'm a snake.
Nothing against you, but if you're gonna throw something on the table, you better back it up.
If you guys want to think I'm the one that said it,
What about your partner that's in this with you? Do you not care about...
You don't care. You don't care about her.
You guys could look at me. I overheard somebody say Parker. That's not my business. Out of here. I did the right thing, and now everybody's looking at me like.
The third greatest flameout goes to a player I hold dear to my heart, if only because it was the very first eviction I ever watched in Big Brother. I'm also now realizing I also made a video on this player sort of years ago too, which I will also link if you want to check out that. I'm talking about Annie, the saboteur from Big Brother 12. Now let me just clarify that I don't think Annie plays worse than Jacob just because she's ahead of him on this list, but as far as flaming out goes, Annie had the producers on her side for the entire week. Nobody behind the scenes wanted to see this happen. I didn't want to see this happen, and I am still disappointed to this day for her getting evicted in week 1. Annie went into BB12 as the unique twist of the season. She was the saboteur. Her objective was to play tricks on the house guests and get them to doubt each other. If you've ever seen the TV show called The Mole, she was basically that. She would padlock the storage room, turn off the lights, plant stink bombs behind the beds, or cricket noises in the middle of the night, or whatever, any shenanigans, any sabotages she could get up to. The problem for Annie was that socially and tactically, she aligned herself with Brendan and Rachel, who quickly turned into lightning rods for drama and social pariahs. After Brendan won the first veto and took himself off the block, Hayden, the first HOH, reluctantly put up Annie with the intent to vote out Rachel. Rachel wasn't a showmance after all and wasn't afraid to express her love. And showmances are powerful on Big Brother. And yet, despite that, Annie managed to get really grumpy at the corner she felt she was backed into, felt strategically isolated from the rest of the cast, and I think was quickly realizing she was running out of runway for her game to take off. Which is also kind of strange to consider when a lot of that runway was paved by the producers. Not to mention, she also had to keep secretly sabotaging the cast. The Brigade Alliance turned the tables on Annie after deciding to keep Rachel and evict Annie instead, since she was a big target. Rachel was a really big target and all eyes were on her, which meant they weren't on the Brigade. Annie was the big twist of the season, but she flamed out faster than the producers ever anticipated.
Oh no, I knew it was gonna happen. Lies, weave evil webs. Brittany.
Clearly the girl's a total psychopath. She's not all here. She's not playing with a full deck of cards.
When Annie's looking all crazy like that, it just basically ensures that she's gonna go out this week, which is exactly what the Brigade has in plan, so that's great.
I am so happy to see you leave. You tried to come in between me and my man like he would ever pick you over me, please.
Wow, that's nice.
Hope you enjoyed my latest sabotage, but unfortunately, it's going
to be my last. That's right, guys, it's me.
So now there's no saboteur.
Week 1.
Wow, week 1, yo, we yanked it.
The second greatest flameout in BB history goes to... Oh man, I love that we get 2 appearances from this season on this list because damn if it's not perfectly fitting. The second greatest flameout is Jen from Big Brother 9. Yeah, Jacob was evicted in week 1 of BB9. He was number 4 on this list. Jen, meanwhile, was also evicted by the end of the first week alongside her partner Parker, who I'm not entirely including here, even though he is technically involved as well and will be mentioned. Big Brother 9 comes out swinging in week 1, and I think both Jacob and Jen are justifiably 2 of the greatest flameouts we have ever seen. There's a whole nother video to be made about Jen's crash and burn that's in the same vein as Jacob. She plays this week horribly. And she started it as one of the most powerful players in the game. I almost put her at number 1 because she was technically the first HOH of the season, even though it was short-lived. Jen enters this season as a secret duo with her boyfriend Ryan. She plans to keep her relationship under wraps, nobody else will know. However, she goes on to tell Parker about this because Parker is her game partner and it's only fair he should know. From there, Jen, Ryan, and Parker decide to tell Allison, who is Ryan's game partner. That way, this foursome can all be in cahoots and work together as the first ever 4-person secret alliance masterminding the entire boot order. Oh man, Brigade, eat your heart out. Except that doesn't happen because Jen quickly realizes that she can't trust Allison. Big Brother is a social game first and foremost, and the twisted web of BB9's week 1 social dynamics are all over the place. Essentially, to spare you from rewatching it, here are the cliff notes. Allison is partnered with Ryan and has a crush on him, but Ryan is dating Jen in real life. And after Jen decides to tell Parker, Ryan, who doesn't have a problem with Allison, wants to loop in Allison too. It's only fair. Jen reluctantly agrees despite not loving Allison all that much, recognizing Allison kinda has a thing for her boyfriend. So Allison finds out that the guy she's got the hots for, Ryan, actually has a girlfriend who is in the game. And she is not a fan of that at all, doesn't want to work with Jen at all, doesn't love the fact that she's basically forced into this alliance that she never asked for. And so Jen panics and instead goes around and preemptively tells the entire house about her relationship with Ryan for fear that Allison will spill the beans first. Jen wants to control the narrative and not let Allison undermine her game. Basically, Jen beats Allison to the punch, but that was a punch that was only ever going to hit Jen right in the face. Jen punched herself. Eat shit, Allison. As if all that wasn't enough, this causes a rapid spiral of drama where Jen and Allison fight. The whole house isn't a fan of any of this. They all turn on Jen, and then as a last-ditch effort, Jen accuses Ryan, her boyfriend in real life, of being a racist. Yeah, that didn't help her cause that much. And then she was evicted. Maybe she should have been #1 after all.
I really feel like the odds are stacked against me right now. So now I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stay in this game.
I feel I deserve it more than Ryan does. Ryan is also racist.
What?
Ryan is also racist.
What? Why would you say that?
You have to wonder how low people will stoop to get what they want.
We're not gonna let this game affect our relationship.
No, it's going to.
I never said he was
You
a racist.
did say
you
that.
said that.
I know what I heard.
I told you.
I'm not deaf. I know what I heard.
Okay.
Jen is definitely a born liar. I think she actually thrives off of it and gets off of it.
The #1 greatest flameout in Big Brother history goes to my favorite first boot. It is Brian from Big Brother 10. Oh boy, where do I start with Brian? Brian was cast as the Game of Thrones Littlefinger. He was the puppet master, the mastermind, the major strategic 4D big brain, big Brian of this season. Brian walked into BB10 intending to dominate, to socially control everything within his grasp. And to be fair, Brian had a big reach. He created a secret trio alliance with Ollie and some random guy named Dan. The three of them would subtly manipulate everyone else each week. Brian then created an alliance with the first HOH, Jerry, and managed to control his nominations, getting Jerry to target who Brian wanted out first. So far, so good. Brian then went and made several other smaller alliances. He leveraged deals with most of the cast to cover all his bases. Everyone was in with Brian, and Brian was in with everyone, which made him untouchable. Nobody would ever target him, and that is a strategy we've seen work out before.
Really? Is anybody even playing this game? I can't say I have control of the house, but are things moving along the direction I would like them to? Yeah, they are.
I have enough votes to where I can do whatever I want, and nobody's gonna have to try to take me down.
But then Ollie, good ol' Ollie, one of Brian's original Secret Alliance mates, strayed away from Brian in the middle of the first week and strayed closer to another player, April. He got into a showmance with her, and in turn, information began to leak. April sussed out from Ollie that he was actively working with Brian, and then April approached a few other people she was close to and discovered that, in fact, Brian was working with all of them too. Brian wasn't just planting a few seeds, Brian was harvesting an orchard. Because a renomination was needed for the POV ceremony coming up, almost everyone in the entire cast secretly marched up to the HOH room and confronted and blindsided the current HOH, Jerry, and spoke with him about how, 80% of the house wanted Jerry to nominate Brian for eviction.
Right here, buddy.
Right here, Jerry.
Let's start the revolution.
Today, words got around to everybody that there's been a player who's been in contact with multiple people, basically the entire house.
Our point of this is
you have to put Brian up.
He's got an alliance with Angie. He's got an alliance with
Angie. He's got an alliance with him.
He's got an alliance with
Dan. He's got an alliance
April.
with her. And he's making you do all his dirty work, so his hands are clean of the blood.
This was one of those rare moments in Big Brother where the HOH understandably needed to go with the house on this one because the house was sitting in his HOH room and they weren't happy. So Jerry, who also had a deal with Brian, turned on Brian after realizing his deal with the guy was just as phony as the rest of the deals. Brian was blindsided at the very first veto ceremony and went on to get evicted by the end of the week. But not before he held a mock sock puppet reenactment of his downfall. Too soon, Brian. Too soon.
Put Jesse next to Rennie.
I've chosen Jesse and Rennie for eviction.
It shows me I can trust Jerry. I'm definitely pulling a few of the strings right now.
Are you with Brian, Dan? He hesitated.
Yeah, put Brian up.
Now, you just threatened me, see? I found out that this person who I went with had other alliances. Everybody got together, 8 people came to my room, and I nominate you, Brian.
By a vote of 9-1, Brian, you are evicted from the Big Brother house. You made 8,000 deals in the first few hours. What were you thinking?
You know, I was going into this and I was building an army and I didn't realize there wasn't anybody on the other side.
And those are the top 5 greatest Week 1 Flameouts in Big Brother. I hope you guys enjoyed the vid. I hope every future Week 1 can be as chaotic as the best of them, or maybe the worst of them. Let me know if there are any other players that should get a shout out. Let me know how you guys feel about this absolute chaos. A huge thank you to some of my Year 1 and possibly Week 1 patrons on the screen. And don't forget, on your way out of the Big Brother front door, to blame everyone else in the cast but yourself. You played flawlessly. They all just got in your way. And I will see you in the next one once I sit down to have a lovely interview with the one Julie Chen.
Well, tonight is the live eviction ceremony. Live. Rennie, please hold on.
I started making alliances. I made 8,000 alliances in 3 hours.
I know I'm going home. Jesse, you suck. So I want to vote for
April, this is Big Brother. Please put your top on.
Don't you want to see my boobies? The person who will be evicted the first week with a vote of 3-0. Brian, you are evicted.